if the chicken is cooked, you're fine. But this is a huge problem inside the poultry industry in the United States, and hundreds of thousands or maybe into the millions of birds have been culled in order to stop outbreaks on poultry and chicken farms, even here. But that's less of a threat to humans because we cook our birds than having it in the milk.
All right. So, I see. We're chatting with Donald McNeil. So you're telling us that notwithstanding the fact that bird flu may have infected a chicken, and that chicken may be a chicken that we buy, if we cook the chicken, presumably well enough, right? We cook chicken thoroughly, then there's no chance of transmitting that virus to us as we eat chicken. Correct?
There's never been a faster or easier way to start your weight loss journey than with PlushCare. PlushCare accepts most insurance plans and gives you online access to board-certified physicians who can prescribe FDA-approved weight loss medications like Wegovy and Zepbound for those who qualify. Take charge of your health and speak with a board-certified physician about a weight loss plan that's right for you. Get started today at plushcare.com/weight loss. That's plushcare.com/weight loss. plushcare.com/weight loss.
Life is full of awesome what-ifs, and some not so much, like unexpected medical costs. That's why United Healthcare provides Health Protector Guard fixed indemnity insurance plans to supplement your primary plan and help manage out-of-pocket costs. Learn more at uh1.com.
Right, and yes, and the threat has been big enough, and the poultry industry is aware of this enough, and the government repays farmers for all the. They don't repay the farmers for the chickens that fall ill and die, but they definitely reimburse them for chickens they cull. So there's an incentive for poultry farmers to kill their chickens to stop the virus. But both an industry incentive, because nobody wants it to spread from farm to farm, right, and a government incentive. We don't have that in place for cows yet. Obviously, that would be more expensive. Cows are more, but it's begun to happen. The government is beginning to wake up to this, but they've offered under $28,000 to farms. And there's a lot of things that need to be done. If they're going to throw away milk that's been contaminated by the virus, you want to heat the milk. You don't want it tossed out into the environment where some animal might lap it up and spread it to the species. You want to pasteurize even the milk you're throwing away. If you have to, there isn't any reason to put down cows now. But if the virus changes and becomes more dangerous, there's going to have to be compensation for and we really need a program to find and test dairy workers. Right now, it's a $75, incentive to come and be part of an epidemiological study, and that's probably not enough of an incentive for somebody to be able to get away from a farm and risk losing their job and possibly being deported. So I think the government needs to reassure us that it's really going out and testing dairy workers and making sure that the virus is not spreading among them.
Donald McNeil, what about, we're chatting with science reporter Donald McNeil about bird flu. I think it's called H5N1, that particular avian flu. What
Correct.
About eggs from chickens?
In particular, clade.
Yeah. What about eggs?
The same biosecurity measures take place on egg-laying farms as do on farms that raise chickens for broiling. So
no, but what I mean by that is, that if we pasteurize milk, it kills the virus, and if we cook chicken and eat chicken, it kills the virus. But what if a chicken lays an egg? Can the egg carry the virus to us theoretically?
I don't want to try to answer that question because I'm not sure about the inside or the outside of the egg. Definitely some bacteria get on the outside of eggs when they're not washed. Usually those bacteria can be killed by cooking, but there are some things that one puts raw eggs into, like Caesar salad.
A lot of things. So
I have not heard any reason to be fearful of that. So I don't want to go beyond my knowledge.
Okay. And your concern is that having jumped from, we know it has jumped to mammals, a lot of mammals. We know it's jumped to cows. We know it jumped to at least one human. And we know that the industry is particularly vulnerable to the kind of things that can spread a contagion because the people don't want to report. They run away. They're afraid. They're frightened. All the bad things that can happen that can lead to spreading a contagion. Those are some of the red flags you're seeing here, correct?
And the fact that it's in the milk. It is
in the milk. And
yes, the milk should be, because the virus seems to have an attraction for mammary glands in cows. There's much more virus in the mammary glands than there are in the rest of the cows. The cows are not. The cows so far are not dying, but the milk is being found to be teeming with virus. And when they have sampled cows, they find that it's in the mammary tissue. That's kind of something new, because we think of influenzas as being basically a lung virus, an airway virus, and in birds it's an intestinal virus.
Wow.
But I've never heard of it in that kind of tissue. But then on the other hand, we don't milk a lot of animals except for goats and cows and goats. So it never became an issue before.
Are unpasteurized milk sometimes used in making cheese, and could that be dangerous?
Yes. I mean, some kinds of cheese is supposed to. In many places in this country, it's illegal to sell raw milk or products made from raw milk. So yogurt, cheese, anything like that. However, it's very common for people to get around the laws by using sort of cow shares, which is to say a farmer sells shares in his herd, and you become in effect a part owner of a cow, sort of like a condo share or something like that. And so you're being given, you pay for the ownership rights, and then you're given the milk for free. Unfortunately, since the alarm was raised, there was an article a couple of days ago saying the demand for raw milk has gone up from the very small percentage of this company that likes to drink raw milk, because raw milk drinkers tend to believe that there's that anything that doesn't kill you makes you stronger, which is true. And it's, if you survived a bout of H5N1 from raw milk, you would be stronger and more immune protected against it. But I find that a hard way to test your immunity. And so, no, I'd like there to be, the FDA has issued warnings against raw milk, but it's been kind of the things that turns up in the last paragraph of the story. And I'd like to see, important government officials on television saying, while we are facing this virus, it doesn't mean raw milk is going to be dangerous forever, but they actually, in general, people don't recommend drinking raw milk. Pasteurization does very little to change the character of the milk, and it renders it safe. But saying, well, look, while we're fighting this epidemic, how about drinking almond milk or oat milk or soy milk or something like that? And how about thinking about feeding that to your kids rather than feeding them raw milk and taking the risk? It's substantially higher risk now than the normal risk that you find in raw milk, which is of a number of diseases that go in cows.
I need to ask this other thing, because the first thing that occurred to me with chatting with Donald McNeil, science reporter, was formula. I happen to have an infant granddaughter right now. I'm a grandma for the first time. Mm-hmm. And we've segued, Joanna has, thank you, from breast milk. She's now on formula. And I'm hoping you're going to tell me that she's got nothing to worry about, because formula is so heated and everything else that by the time it would cross a baby's lips, any possible virus would be extinguished. Are you going to tell me that, please?
I believe that's correct. I don't know much about the making of baby formula, but I have heard that it is sort of super pasteurized, and that the standards are extremely high for it. So
that's what I would hope.
I worry less about that than I would just about, like I said, I worry about raw milk, and I just want to be sure that all the milk that says pasteurized, those plants are definitely being checked to make sure that the temperature is always hot enough for long enough so that we are confident that the milk is always correctly pasteurized while this epidemic is going on in the cows.
Well, we want to thank you, Donald McNeil, for bringing attention to this. Obviously, with your decades of experience, I think you're a reliable source if some of the signs are here. And we have to hope, I suppose, like anything else in nature, that it will turn the corner and maybe go away of its own accord before being explosively awful. But in the meantime, as you say, we ought to be cautious.
Have to be alert.
And we have to be alert. And that means right now the message is, if you're going to drink cow's milk, make sure you're drinking pasteurized milk. And if you're going to buy cheeses, make sure the cheeses are being made with pasteurized milk. Now is not the time to be particularly creative or inventive or experimental in your food choices, because there's a real and present alert and danger of this flu that has infected our dairy supply. End of story, right? That's it. We got to know that.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Donald McNeil, for your investigative reporting, and thank you so much for coming on the show today. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For having me.